Going to want it. So guys, this is another episode of the Speakeasy Podcast. I am your host, Altavice Pelzer, the voice coach, professional speaker, certified life coach, Amazon bestselling author. And you know that on Speakeasy, we talk about the behind the scenes of what it means to be the speaker or the author. But as you saw with the title, the 5-figure work week. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Because I know a lot of times we often think that the 5-figure work week feels like I am living and swimming in gold and everything in the house is made up of $100 bills. And guys, listen, I understand, that's what we dream about, but we're going to talk to somebody today that's not only dreaming about it, but that has done it and is showing other people how to get it done as well. So why am I so excited? Well, first of all, y'all know I always get excited when it's a Speakeasy podcast. That's just me. I'm silly, y'all. Yeah, just love me for who I am. But another reason why I'm so excited is because the story behind it all, where it started and where it is now. And, first we got to start off with saying congratulations to 4,000 members in the 5-figure work week mastermind. Congratulations to Michael. And so with that being said, I just said his name. We have Michael coming on with us today. So Michael, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, first and foremost, Altavice, I love your energy. Oh my goodness. So that's first and foremost. And so a little bit about myself. I am Michael Marcial, like Altavice had mentioned. I'm the founder of the 5-Figure Workweek Mastermind community. It's an invite-only, kind of an exclusive, closed Facebook group, which if you'd like, by the end of this, if you feel like you should be a part of that, I can give you a special invitation. But, I'm a regular person, a regular dude. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I currently live in Utah, beautiful, awesome Utah. And I've got a 5.5-year-old little girl, emphasis on the half. She won't let you slide with just a regular 5. She's literally 5.5 going on like 30. And so my day-to-day, I am a coach and mentor to the people that have messages, the people that want to be on more stages, that want to have their coaching business work for them, and genuinely want to help people. That's like at my core, at my heart. That's why I do what I do, and I love working with people that are similar. So that's a smidge about me. But yeah, I'm ready to just freaking drop bombs. If you're watching this, like you got to drop like some crazy emojis if you're ready for this, because this is live, and that gets us hype. Like I just want to see that interaction. See who's showing up and like ready to play at this level. So let's go.
And you just said an amazing thing. Let's talk about that. Let's start it off right there, and then, oh my goodness, are you ready to play at this level? So let's talk a bit about that, because a common thread with your story and my story is the homelessness, is hitting rock bottom, is literally getting to a point where you're looking around and you're saying, first you're asking yourself the question, how did I get to this point? We know the answer, but we get to that point where like, how did I get here? And then how do I move from this position? So let's talk about that a little bit, so that way they get to know a little bit about the backstory before we tell them about the glorious 5-figure work week.
Yeah, you nailed it. So, let's see, 14 years ago, I was in college. I was 19 years old, so you can do the math. I just turned 33 in December. And, I was 19 years old. I was a kid, but I never quite felt like I belonged in school. Like when I was in junior high school, I just couldn't wait till high school. High school, I couldn't wait till college. College, I couldn't wait till whatever was next. And I just knew that I just never quite fit in. And I was fortunate enough to be hired on as a consultant, even at 19 years old, because I was started to dabble into social media, and there was a company that needed some help marketing themselves. Got into that. We started doing more video and content that way, and it just exploded. It went really well. And so over the next 5 years working with them, I learned a ton, and then I leveraged that to work with larger and larger companies. And then 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago, I decided to leave the consulting world to focus on family. And so this, I think, will tie into a lot of us that are just, we're on our grind. We are in hustle mode. We have that vision of what we want. Well, sometimes the vision of what we want, even if we say it's family, it's the lifestyle, it's all of these things, we find ourselves, 2:00 in the morning doing one of these. Like last night, I was taking a bath. Don't get a mental image, but like I was taking a bath, right? But what was I doing? I was on my phone. I was, talking to people. I was doing my thing instead of just relaxing. Oh, there it is right there. See, like we're doing it. And, but here I was telling myself like family is number one. I didn't grow up with my dad in my life. I wanted to be the best dad for my daughter, all of these things. But I found myself working 60, 70, 80 hours a week instead of being with family. And so I was like, okay, if I'm a man of action, if I am my word, then I get to focus on family for real. And so I made the decision to kind of transition out of the 9 to 5, if you will, into something else. And quickly I realized that I had put my identity, I'd wrapped my identity up in my work and in calling myself like this family guy. But now I didn't have my consulting gig anymore. I wasn't this young hotshot consultant dude. I didn't know, I didn't have anything else to fall back on. And at the same time, I realized that my now former wife and I had grown so far apart, and we ended up going through a separation and divorce very quickly after. And now here I am, my two identities were just now gone. I didn't know who this guy was, and it showed up everywhere. Like I didn't work, I didn't socialize, I didn't take care of my physical body, I didn't, like in every way, like Altavis said, like I was at my everything rock bottom. And over about a 6-month time period, I slipped into this nice bubble bath I call depression, and that was it. And then couldn't afford to pay my bills, definitely not my rent for this swanky little apartment I tried to get, and found myself sleeping in my car. And that's where all those questions started to flood in. It's like, okay, well, now I have no one else to blame this on. There's no other circumstances that I can hang this on. It's on this guy. It's on me. Like it's the lack of action. It's the lack of just knowing what I want to do and pursuing those things. And so really, really quickly, you find out who you are. Like you either stay in your car and then who knows what happens, right? Or you're sleeping on your friend or family's couch or whatever that looks like. But maybe you, like watching this right now, maybe you've never slept in your car, but you know what I'm talking about. It's like, if I stubbed my toe right now, I know you could feel it. It's like the same thing. Like we might not be in the same situations, but we are in the same situations. And so for me, I didn't know what I wanted. And I had to get super, super clear on that. So the mindset had to shift from like, I am weaker to my circumstance versus it's just a circumstance and that's not who I am. I didn't have to own that as who I was. And immediately I started to take action. And a little side note here, for anyone that is struggling with mindset or beliefs or the self-talk, things like that, this might sound weird, like especially if you're into personal development, but the thing I had to do was not spend more time on my mindset and belief work. This might sound interesting, but like we've all seen the cycle of belief. Like beliefs lead to your thoughts, thoughts create actions, actions create results, results reinforce the belief. But I was feeling like depleted, and I couldn't pull myself out of that, like the mindset stuff, but I could take actions. And so what I did do is I took more action to see what the result would be. I was just like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. I have literally nothing to lose. What would hurt if I reach out to 10 people and say, hey, I would love to work with you. You know what I can do. I'd like to do that for you. What would hurt if I did that? What would hurt if I reached out to that person that I know was putting on an event, in 7 months and just said, hey, like I can speak on these topics. I've not spoken before, or maybe I have limited experience, but I would love, love, love to bring my story, my message to your audience. Like, you have nothing to lose. So I started taking more action and I started to see results, and the results I didn't like, I just took different actions, and that's all I could do. And so that was the mode that I got into. And like that, I kid you not, I actually did reach out to 10 people and said, hey, let's jump on a Skype call. Skype, because I didn't have phone service, right? Like, I jumped on Skype calls. 7 of those people showed up, and of those, 5 people said yes to $1,000 offering. And I'd made in 72 hours twice as much as I had being a consultant, working 80 hours a week. And so there were some principles from that. It was like, okay, taking action is a good thing. And 2, like, I saw how simple it could be. I didn't need to do all the emails and the, freebies and all this other stuff. I just had to show up, be real about it, and people enjoyed that. So, when we get stuck in our head, I think that's when we do the most damage. But one thing that we can all do is take action, whether it's imperfect, whether we've put even a lot of thought. Like, you could have no thought about it and still have results. And the one thing that's different between yourself and the person that you are, or the person that you see on stages or launching their books or dropping courses or their coaching businesses exploding, is that we're just taking actions at a different speed, and we're implementing a little bit differently, a little faster, so that we can learn, we can grow, and we can implement that much, at a much higher level at that point. So that's a lot of stuff just wrapped into there. So that's what I got.
But that was right on point, because I know, and I've had this conversation oftentimes with clients, is that, okay, you get into this funk. Guess what? The funk doesn't stop. There's going to be multiple levels, and at every level, there's going to be some form of funk, because it's a new level. It's a new experience,
absolutely
a new opportunity, and you've never done it before.
You know what? You just nailed it. Like, it doesn't matter what level you perceive yourself to be on, but the next level has its own set of challenges. And think about your own situation. Like, yes, there might be some really amazing parts of that. Life is good, relationships good, health good, whatever's good. That's awesome. The stuff that you think about that it's like, okay, I need to fix this. I need to get my money up. Like, I need more income. I want to impact more people. I want to be on more stages. All the things that you feel like there's a lack in, that is a certain type of challenge. But let me ask you this: how are you dealing with that? How do you actually show up in that at whatever level you are? Let's say from 1 to 10, you'd call yourself a 5. How do you handle a level 5 challenges, right? Because when you get to level 6, there's different challenges. What happens when the money isn't the challenge? What if you're doing $10,000 a week and money's not an issue? There's other challenges. Like, there's other things that happen. So when you're at level 10, it's not that it's the easiest. It's that hopefully you've been able to cope with the challenges that do arise. And so there's a lot that goes into all of that. But just look at your own situation. Be okay with that. You don't have to worry about the guys and the gals like living the Lambo lifestyle and flashing the watches and the stuff, because whether that's real or not is to be determined. The actual question we can ask ourselves is like, do we actually like our lives? Do we enjoy that? And if you don't, that's when you get to take more action, better action, and learn and grow from that at any stage that you're at.
And so, guys, those who are just joining in, thank you for joining in. Of course, the Speak Easy podcast. We're talking about the 5-figure work week with Michael. And we're also talking about, what does it look like? What does it feel like? A lot of times we get so amped up thinking that, people who have gotten to this level, they have something that we don't. And the reality is, no, they don't. They have exactly the same things that we have. They have the same time in each day. They have the same ability to gain access to resources. And even if you don't have the same amount of money, the resources are available to you. And so in that aspect, what were some of the key resources that you used in the beginning? Now, I know the answer, part of the answer, but what are some of the key resources you used in that time frame when you did those 10 calls?
Yeah, social media. That was it. Like, and behind that, it was people. That's like we forget sometimes that the people that all of the things that we want to do in our business and in our lives, 98% of the time that involves other people. Like, if you want clients, well, that's other people. If you want to speak on stages, you need other people to be there. You need somebody to create that venue for you. that opportunity. It's in other people. And so that's what it was. I just leveraged what I could do. And we always hear this phrase, but I did what I could with what I had. Right. And that's what I had. I had social media. I had other people to connect with. And, they're like branching off of that. Like, I'll tell you this much, like some of the things that I work with clients on, like the 5-figure Workweek mastermind is a really cool place for us to come and play. That's where I just get to dump some unique ideas that I have on why my business works, why our clients' business work. But as far as when I work with somebody, we focus on answering just these 4 questions. And it can be this simple. It's like just answering the question of, who are you for real? Like, what are you all about? And getting clear on that, what are you all about? Like, what do you want to be known for? What is this unique thing that's going on here? Being okay with that, but answering the question of who you're serving. So even if you're speaking on stage, if you're coaching, mentoring, writing your book, you have to think about that audience. Because at the end of the day, like, I could know what I'm all about, but if I'm in front of the wrong crowd, in front of the wrong audience necessarily, like, that message doesn't get conveyed as accurately, as clearly as it could be. And we're not ultimately serving the people that we're meant to. Third question is like, what do you actually offer? Some people are speakers because they are speakers. They're going to get paid to speak. I get paid to speak very infrequently. When I speak, like for example, last year in Altavista, this, last year I spoke on 60 stages last year and did about 30 podcast interviews. And from that, I was paid like twice, I think. So knowing who I am as a coach mentor, I know that I want to be on those stages, that some of those I paid for, right? Some of those I invested pretty heavily to be on those stages. Some of them were absolutely free and I had to cover my own travel. But the reason why is because my heart is to serve people. 2, I know that the people that I'm meant to speak with and to, the people that I get to mentor with, they're a different crowd. If I were just to be up there and give you some information and then now I'm out of your life, even if I left you with something like a book or something like that, where there's no clear next step for us, if I couldn't work with you one-on-one or at least in a group setting, that doesn't fulfill me. And so I look for speaking opportunities that would allow me not to necessarily pitch from stage, because I don't necessarily do that, but I want to give relevant information. So I take accountability, like Altavista, like I'm going through her Facebook, I'm going through all of her other episodes, like I'm getting clear on what the audience looks like, who that person is, what the message looks like, so I can bring real value there. But I digress. So you got to know what you're offering at the end of the day. Like, is it just a speech presentation? Is it just a book? Is it a certain high-level coaching program? Is it, but get clear on those things, because a lot of times when we say we're a speaker, we're not even clear on who we're talking to or what we're all about. We get to be super clear on that so that everyone else is. That's why I keep pointing over here because I have a little goal board for 2017, but that's where those 60 stages came from. On that list right there, speaking, I will book 50 days on stage this year is the goal. And 60 happened to be the number. But those all came to me. I very rarely will reach out to people. But I get to be so clear on what it is that I'm about, who I serve, and then what I actually offer, whether it's a speech, a coaching program, a book, whatever that thing is, I'm super clear on it. And the fourth question is all about results. Like, what are the results that you're going to bring? So if you are a paid speaker, what is the difference between you being there and you not being there? If you're a coach that's using speaking in your book as the vehicle to get into coaching, mentoring, like, what are the results for having worked with you? And get really clear with those things. That's where testimonials come into play. That's where showing up in live videos like this, doing podcast interviews becomes super important. Not just for marketing, but like you actually can say out loud what these results look like. I happen to have a unique proposition of the 5-figure work week. My clients, that's my goal, is to get them to a 5-figure work week so that they know that at least consistently, maybe not every week, but consistently, they have everything in place so that they could create a 5-figure, $10,000 or more per work week. For some people, that sounds crazy. That sounded crazy to me just a few years ago when I was sleeping in my car. But at the same time, I'm the most regular dude. Like, I'm nothing special, right? Like, I wish I could break this down to you as like how normal of a person I am. but I'm just playing to my strengths. I've answered those 4 questions really clearly. And to wrap this long answer up, working with people and being clear about those 4 questions changed the game for me. And there's a lot to that, but those are the 4 questions. I just had to answer those things.
It's crazy because first of all, you said my favorite word, which is leverage. That is my key, standpoint this year is leverage, because I feel as though we as people have learned to we've gotten into a habit of leveraging people instead of leveraging opportunities. Mm-hmm. And we've lost that connection with trying to leverage the opportunity. And instead we're stepping on people to try to make it to a higher level. And I believe that is completely the wrong way to try to move towards any type of figures, 4 figures, 3 figures.
Any figures.
Exactly. Like it's the wrong thing to do. So when we look at the leverage, sometimes it's leveraging your story. Sometimes it's leveraging your abilities. I know that for you, some of your abilities were the fact that you love to teach. So this is you leveraging your ability. Me loving to help people and working with women who are, moving to finding their voice. That's me leveraging what it is that I already know how to do. Mm-hmm. Have you ever come in contact with someone who came to you and they were like, yes. And, they were like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I want to do it all today. And you were like, wait.
No, never, ever in my entire life have I experienced that. I'd say it's 90% of the people I talk to, they're like I have a very specific structure for the calls that I have with potential clients. That's something I teach more about with my clients and in the 5-figure Workweek group. But it always starts with questions like, what are you working on? What are you working towards? Because I love to see where people are at. And this is what I know, is that we are creative, competent people. And those 2 things, that's dangerous. That's high level danger in both good and maybe not so good ways. The not so good means like, oh yeah, I'm going to do a webinar series and I'm going to be speaking a bunch and traveling, and I'm going to do high-level coaching, but then I'm going to do a group program and a Facebook group, and then I've got these ebooks and a course that I'm doing, and I'm doing a retreat that all intertwines with that. You see, I'm doing that because then we're doing a conference, and then there's a value ladder of all the things that I'm going to offer, and my mind explodes because this is what I know. And we feel this when we split ourselves into a million different chunks. We go a mile wide and an inch deep on any of these things. And we're like, if we ever launch any of those things, really, then it's how great can it be if we do 10 things at 10% or 20 things at 5% or 100 things at 1%? Like, it's not going to work that way. And so I like to go streamline. I like to go an inch wide and a mile deep with strategy, like knowing exactly where I want to go and reverse engineering that. Like, how do we actually then get there? And for some people, it's a money goal. For some people, it's like, I just want to have that thing that I offer. Some people, like, I want to speak so many days on stage. I want to actually launch this book, whatever that goal is. But then we get to reverse that thing. So all the tactics that you could ever do, because we're creative, we can come up with a lot of crazy stuff. And we're competent, so we could do it. We get crazy with it. And so I'm just saying, let's go streamline with it and then take all those tactics and fill it into the overall strategy. So for example, my business right now looks like this. There's no freebies. There's nothing, well, outside of the Facebook community where there's live trainings and the community there. I don't have any freebies. I don't do any ebooks. I don't do a webinar. I have my Facebook community, right? And then I have literally 3 ways that I work with my clients. But in between those 2 things are speaking engagements and podcast interviews. We recently just did a retreat. Our very first retreat was last week. Unbelievable. But I couldn't do all of these things simultaneously, but I stacked them. And the flow, I'm going to let you in on the behind the scenes because I know your audience. They're a higher level audience. I wouldn't normally just open up my curtain this way, but I'm going to. So here's what it looks like. Podcast interviews and speaking. That's marketing. That's getting my message out. That's showing some value to you. Okay. Some of those people are the right fit for the Facebook community. So they'll jump in with my invite, which I'll give to you at the end of the show. Okay. From there, they have the opportunity to join the retreat, which we do 2 a year. We're going to do 2 a year. We did our first one. We're going to do the second one in October. They have an opportunity to play at that level. And then there are 3 coaching and mentoring programs that I offer. And that's it. That's the whole shebang. So why do I speak on more stages? Why do I love coming onto shows like this? Is because I get to connect with more of my people. The thing that I just said, like that's the thing that grew my business, just connecting, giving real valuable teaching. And then you get to play in my Facebook community, or like if you don't have a community of your own social media profiles, you could play in Messenger. Like I will tell you this much, Messenger accounts for probably $200,000 of our business. Just me doing this to people saying, hey, I love what you're about. Tell me more. Like, how can I serve you? Okay, I see where you're at. Here are some solutions that I've already put together for you. How do you feel about this? Okay, cool. Let's jump on a quick call. Hey, so-and-so, like this makes a whole lot of sense. Cool. Which of these 3 programs fits for you? Let's make that work. Okay, perfect. That's awesome. We can get started on Monday. Boom. Send off an agreement and a PayPal link if you want. And that's as simple as it could feel. So anyway, I don't even know where that came from, but I felt like it was important to share because like you said, like there's so many people that come to me with a million ideas, but it's like, that's normal. That is totally natural because we want to create, we want to go, but like, let's get strategic with it and put it in a way that maybe works, and it's worked for myself just to streamline so that my time is kept sacred. I don't have to spread myself thin. Like today, literally I have your podcast and another podcast at 5 o'clock. And then at 6 o'clock, I'm going to go jam on some drums at the church that I play drums for. That's what my day looks like. And yeah, I'm going to do a couple little things, work related, but that's my entire day. But it doesn't have to be crazy. So anyway, I like to get streamlined, strategic, and then we can really go.
And that really takes us to a whole nother level because we can't be scatterbrained. And you said, being different pieces, a whole bunch of different pieces. I always say, I'm not an octopus. I can't do it. It's not going to work.
I love it.
I can't do it. It's not going to work. I have to make sure that things fit and are in line. And you, oh my goodness, you threw it out the park with saying, that Messenger right now, Messenger is everything. And so if they haven't, even as a speaker and an author, because remember, if you're a speaker, you're an author, you're also an entrepreneur. So if you don't know how to utilize Messenger the right way, you're missing a key element to your business. And a lot of times when we're scared to try something new, it just leaves us in the smoke. I get it that I'm not saying that we need to try everything because, then we get that shiny object syndrome and we're like, oh, look, Facebook ads.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of like all over the place, but definitely making sure that we see something, we focus on it. We got to get laser focused. We got to pay attention and clearly take action in order to see it through to completion. That's where we mess that part up because we focus and then we focus all the way halfway through and then we don't know what happened. Everything just goes back in the handbasket.
Absolutely. And I love the word completion of that because there's so many times, like how many times we tried to do something new or we tried, even something simple and, like writing a new presentation speech, trying to finish that book and all these things. And it just takes a long time, but all the human stuff comes up too. Like we get scared. What if it doesn't work? What if? We place our own filter, our own lenses, even on our own experiences. Like, I've tried doing this thing before, something like it. I don't think it's going to work. But like, this is where we actually get to tune into like what we really want to do. I could have told myself sleeping in my car that I'm nothing. I am like, who am I to reach out to 10 people and say, hey, I can help you do better in your business when I'm sleeping in my car. Imposter syndrome. I don't maybe have the experience. I hear that a lot. And here's what I know is that my mom, we're getting real here. My mom, she was for most of my life a single mother, 3 kids, my older brother, my younger sister, and she worked her butt off every single day to provide for us. Okay. And I know that there's been several times in her life, and now, as an adult in my own life, where the pressure and the stress of everything has just put me in a circumstance. Same for her. And I always think, like, what would happen if my mom didn't have certain people that showed up in her life, namely my grandmother. If my grandmother wasn't there to, like, at least give moral support, just tell her, like, hey, you just keep going, like, you can do this, your kids need you, all of these things, I don't know what that would have looked like. I don't know if my mom would still be here. Like, without my daughter, this is just getting real, without my daughter in my life, I don't know if I would still be here. And then we get to think, like, we didn't come this far to only come this far. So all the doubts, all the fear, the false evidence appearing real that's up here, that we can even feel it's real to us. I just say, like, throw that away for a second, because even if you're speaking, to 10 people, or you do a Facebook Live and there's only 17 people that ever watch it, like, I guarantee you were meant to put that message out there in the way that you did, in the timing that you did, because there's that one person that just needs that message. And I cannot tell you how amazing that feels to just take some action, just to know what, answering those 4 questions, like knowing what I'm all about and sharing that with people, that has changed not only other people's lives, and that was my goal. Like, I just want to serve, but it's filled me up, like, every single day. Like, I could go, it's one of those things where, like, we're passionate, we could do it every single day without getting paid. But then there's the talent, the leveraging of our talents and our gifts, as small as sometimes they may feel. We get to put those things together and really impact people's lives. And that's where the attraction starts to happen. That's when the right people show up. That's when the right opportunities, the stages, the last minute publishing deal that comes through, like, everything that happens. It's because we get so clear on those things, and it's just it's an influx versus an outpouring of energy. It's like we actually now attract the clients and the opportunities that we're meant to have. So I think it all plays together, and I think it's really important to say this, because I know a ton of people that are speakers and authors, authors that have never written books, speakers that have never been on stage, or maybe a handful. And that's all it will ever be. And it hurts because we allow all the, I'm trying to, like, cut out all the language here, but we allow all the stuff of life to get in our way. And I'm going to tell you right now, the resistance, any point of resistance, doesn't matter if you call yourself a 2 out of 10, a 5 out of 10, 8 out of 10, whatever level you're at, that resistance that you meet, that right there, everybody meets that. Everybody meets that. And the difference is who's going to take that action step past it, because it's past that resistance point that everything that you've never had, everything that you've ever wanted, everything that you've always wanted to experience, it's living there. And it's just like test. It's just another test to see, how committed are you? Like, if you're sleeping in your car, nothing else around you, like, what are you going to do? Is this going to crush your dream? Because if it is, maybe your dream isn't strong enough, right? And so we have to get real about those things and to say, okay, I recognize that there's something here. I'm going to be that person, that 1 out of 100, that's now going to take the step further and the step further. And it's those people that we see on stages, big stages. It's those people that are dropping New York Times bestsellers and all the big things, doing all the big interviews and all the things that maybe we'd like to be doing in our business and in our life. It's those people that just took the step past. Like, I could go off on this, but, like, imagine all the people that you just follow online. And some of them you're like, how did they make it? Like, their stuff is not that great. Like, let's be real. Like, some of them were just like, I don't get this person. I don't get this. Like, I could do a bit, but here's the thing, like, I could, but did you? Like, what's the difference? That person actually is doing it. Regardless of how you feel about it, they're doing it. And so here's a mini call to action. If you're that type of person that knows, even if you're doing well in your business, things are good in life, whatever that looks like, that in itself could be the resistance. Whatever this looks like, can you grow past where you're at now? Can you actually take things to the next level? And that's the type of person I love to play with. It's that person. That's why Altavis and I are just like, that's why we're here right now. So we connected on that level. It's like I see her doing more and more, and I'm like, not that it has to be more and more, but it's like cooler and cooler, bigger. And I'm like, yes, that's my people. And so that's my mini call to action. Like really all the time, like literally constantly evaluate where you're at in your own life, your business, your relationships, spiritually, physically, all of those things, and say, hey, where's the resistance? Like, can I show up differently? Can I show up more? Can I be clearer on my message? Can I do fill in the blank, the thing you've always wanted to do? And I'm going to tell you the answer is yes. Because here's some 5'7.5" bald dude from Chicago, Illinois. That's just like the most regular dude. That is I'm absolutely loving life, and it's all about growth and expansion, always and in all ways. So that's my call to action right now. Just do it.
It's so funny that you would say that, because I want to ask this question. Do you still have the $60 watch?
Right here, I do. And I don't know if you can hear this, but my daughter broke it 3 weeks ago. She dropped it on the kitchen floor, and I'm like, okay, so it like has this little chingy like rattle in it, but I love the watch, and like, so I wear the watch, yeah.
And do you have the MacBook that you talked about using in the
beginning? I absolutely do. It's sitting in my kitchen right now.
I love it because we talk about what the 5-figure work week looks like and what it feels like. And oftentimes we think that it looks like Lamborghinis and gold and diamond encrusted cups and
right.
But it looks like real people.
It very much so is. The coolest thing is like I love being who I am. I drive a modest car. I live in a nice home, and yeah, I still have that MacBook that I bought for my last $300 when I was like at my rope's end. Like I knew if I didn't invest that into myself, it was just going to go away. Like there's so many things in that, but that's just who I am. Like I could walk you into my closet right now and there's not a whole lot of clothes. That's not my thing. It's just like, you might think of like, okay, Michael, if you did $480,000 last year, then you should live like in a palace and have like a team of maids or something. And I'm like, okay, well, I also have business expenses. I also, I like to take trips every once in a while, but I invest a lot of that back into my business. I invest in speaking. I invest in marketing. I invest in all of these things. And so what I actually end up take home, I like to live comfortably, but I'm just a regular person. Like, I don't need all the stuff and the things. That's not what fuels me. And so we just get to be real about that. If you're about the cars and the look and the feel of things, that's cool. Like, go do you. But I'll tell you this much, like when, if I'm going to say this, if my business ever turns for the worse, my health, gets the best of me, I can't work for 6 months. 1, I know that I'm taken care of. 2, I know my family is taken care of. And 3, like I don't have to worry about the $7,500 in ongoing expenses for my business, plus the $20,000 in living expenses put together. Like I don't have to worry about some huge thing looming over my head. But that comes from my childhood. Like I didn't need a whole lot. I didn't, so anyway, it all ties together. But I'm just saying, like, let's just know who you are, know what you want, and live the lifestyle that makes sense for you. It's really simple.
So we have some questions going on in the chat that I'm going to give to you, but I always ask every author, entrepreneur, and speaker that comes on, what has been a blunder for you in the process? Now, I've talked about having issues with wardrobe. I've sent the book to create space with just the synopsis and the cover, and
nice. Didn't
realize it was so we ordered the ebook and got the synopsis and the cover. I've done that, but a lot of times people think that we have to in order for us to take action, it has to be picture perfect. And I always ask that question because it lets people know it doesn't have to be picture perfect, because even when you think it is, stuff still happens.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. So I would say the biggest or the most notable blunder, yeah, I don't know how big this is, but it's one of the more recent ones. Is that let's see, the first week of March, so just a couple of weeks ago, I went out to New York to speak at this event, 450 entrepreneurs, and one. I mean, I'll tell you this one. Like, this is how it started. I slept overnight at the airport because there's such bad storms and weather, so that was fun. But then when I got there, like, I was very conscious of the fact that there were actually a couple of kids, like some of the people brought their kids there, and I let some expletives fly, and I didn't I caught myself like just after, and but like at the same time, like one of the kids, he was like 12 years old, he's like, I say shit all the time, so I don't care. And I'm like, okay. And everybody laughs and things like that. But I was like, do I really want to ham it up with like dropping curse words with a 12-year-old? I don't know. But that was one I would call it a blunder, but it worked out kind of funny.
I think that's the good part about it, is that after the fact that we can laugh at ourselves, we can laugh at the moment. Yeah. In the moment, it's not a laughing moment.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what is his mom going to say? Am I going to get I want to be invited back. Like, is this a bad thing? So yeah, absolutely.
Very, very true. So one of the questions that was asked was, they asked, why don't you give out a freemium?
Good question. So I'm gonna keep this short, and I want to blow some faces here, blow some minds. Is that if I'm going to invest $25,000 with somebody, I'm also not this is now getting psychological. And if you're the person that wants those higher end speaking engagements, higher end clientele, my higher end, and I'm thinking about myself here, like if I'm going to invest $25,000 to work with somebody, have them on a stage, do whatever that looks like. Okay. If I'm going to do those things, am I going to really want their free ebook? Am I going to want to be on their newsletter and add one more email to the 4,000 emails I get every day? No. And here's the interesting thing. If we want high level, attractive kind of qualities, we get to play high level. So I have a Facebook community, which I will post in at least once a day. I will respond to as many messages as I can that come from that. I will jump on as many calls as I can outside of my team because I like to connect with people. But then there's 3 ways that you can work with me. It starts at 5,000, it goes to 10,000, it goes to 25,000. The person at those levels, they don't care about the freebie, if that makes sense. Now, having said that, for some people, their thing is to sell a digital product from stage, which I do, and I love doing that. And so, yeah, does it make sense to offer a freebie? Yeah, people are expecting it. Can you offer, your course from stage? Absolutely, people are expecting that. And you can get them into your ecosystem through a freebie or your course or email. And at that point, warm them up, bring them into your communities, offer your higher level stuff, do a webinar, whatever that looks like. Absolutely. Can you do that? Yes, you can. Having said that, that's just not where I choose to spend my time. It's like, hey, I'm going to show you what this is about. And if you want to play at a higher level, then let's go already. Like we don't need that. We don't need that. So that's just where I like to live. I want to, as per my brand, I want to showcase things at a higher level. If I had the bandwidth to add something like that on, I would, but it's not where I'm focusing my time at all.
And that speaks to a whole different other mentality, because in the beginning, we think, we want to service everybody.
Yep.
It's the reality. In the beginning, we want to service everybody. So we're like, we want everybody on our email list. We want everybody at our event. We want everybody, in our funnels. And the reality is as you continue to move forward, you see that the same ones, a lot of times they got the freemium, never bought a product. Mm-hmm. They never showed up to an event. Mm-hmm. Sidebar, I want to come to the event in October.
Oh, there you go. Information and details coming soon.
I just want to put that out there.
Got
but,
you.
They never show up to the event. They never do any of these things, but you're excited because you got them on your email list, and then you have 100 people on your email list. But out of those 100, how many are actually being converted into clients?
Yeah. And, it's one of those things too, like I love giving. And so that's where the Facebook community comes in. It's like, if you need something free, if you want to test the waters, if you want to see what I'm all about, you want to see the longevity, you want to see the growth. Like, we have 500 new people every month now. The Facebook community is not very old. It's 8 months old. So 500 people a month. And it's like, if you want to see what's up, join the group. Like, you can test it out there. You can ask your questions, get real insights, connect with some other awesome entrepreneurs, speakers, coaches, mentors, authors. But like, that's where I'd rather spend my time, not on my email list. Now, having said, yeah, and I get all the questions like, what if Facebook like closes down forever? Like, I'm not worried about it. Like, what I do, it's going to work. Like, I can show up in any venue at a high level, and I know that those people are always there. I don't necessarily rely on that, but that's where I give my freebies, my freemium, whatever you want to call it. That's where the free content is. And so then I play my value ladder. My game goes from there.
That is amazing. And so, of course, that goes right into our next question was, building that community, that online community. Oh, my goodness. So if you did not hear me say it in the beginning, I'll repeat it, that literally he has made it to 4,000 members in this community. And he just told you 500 members literally a month. It's only been around for 8 months. So that's saying a lot, because you know that Facebook has its little tendencies where people just kind of add you to a group, but these are organic members. And so with that being said, give us one way that you have been able to grow that membership group.
I'll give you two ways, and they're very similar. One is just my own personal Facebook. So 2-3 years ago, I realized that I had 1,000 friends on Facebook, and they were mostly people that I'd met at events or family, friends, that kind of thing. And I said to myself, like, are these the people that I am able to serve really? And so the answer was no at the end of the day. And so what I did is I connected with more people on my personal Facebook. Now I have 5,000 friends and connections, and I don't know, a couple thousand followers. But those are the right people. And so one way is just like, I put a breadcrumb trail. My featured images, I only have one, and it shows, an image of the group. It's like, hey, if you're this type of person, I'm calling out the person I serve, right? And maybe some results that I do, 2 of those 4 questions. If that's you and this is what you want, come play in the group. So that's one portal. So the friends that I have now get an opportunity to play with me in that way. But when I'm doing podcast interviews, when I'm playing in other Facebook groups, and I'm actually offering real value to people, they're like, oh my gosh, they click on my profile, they see the featured image, they click, and they join the group. And so that happens. Like, we're already playing on social media. Like, if you're watching this, we're already playing here. And it's just one way to leverage the activity that you do so that it benefits your group. And then obviously the other way is like when I'm on stages or at networking events or whatever it is, I talk about it and I actually invite them. And in fact, I guess this brings me to this piece. So if you've made it this far into this interview, this podcast, like, and you think that this could be somewhere that you'd like to play, I would invite you to join the Facebook community. It's called the 5-Figure Workweek, the mastermind. There's also a membership group, but I'm talking about the mastermind. It'll ask for a password, and the password is impactful. You can drop that in one of the entry questions, or you can drop Altavisa's name. You can say, hey, I heard you on the show, the Speakeasy show. Like, you can drop any one of those things so me and my team will know exactly where you came from, and we'll approve you to come in. But this is your official invitation. It's an invite-only community, and that's the crazy part, that 500 new people are being invited into the group. And so it's pretty cool, but those are some easy ways to do it.
Definitely, something to take away from it. And because that's one of the things that people often ask is, how do I build and grow my following? And I think, you know, it's been the combination of the speaking events. It's been the combination of let's just be honest. It's 2 words. Y'all ready? Put a 2 in the comments. Look, it's 2 words. Show up.
Bingo.
Show up. I know that for me, it was 2016 that was the year when I first started to show up, and I went ahead and rebranded my business, and I've seen great growth. But the more I show up, the more growth I see. And I'm not saying, you know, show up just to say hi, but I mean actually show up, meaning who I am as a person, the unicorn, silly entrepreneur, everything. Show up and be accounted for. And I think a lot of times we get into like a funk of we want to hide out. We don't want to seem boastful. We don't want to seem like I can imagine that you've gone through some of the same things when it comes to, okay, I'm putting out a book and I'm putting out information about 5-figure work week. Mm-hmm. And then you get those people that start to chatter and go, well, what makes you qualified to talk about that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. All the time. And I play to my strengths. I love to have fun. I love to make fun of myself even. And so one of the last videos that we did, it starts off with like this really cool shot of a Ferrari, and it's like all these badass shots. And then it's like, you see me slow motion walking into the car and like, yo, I'm Michael Marcial from the 5-Figure Workweek. And then like, you also then see like me, like I would be t-shirt and jeans dude walking into the shop, closing the garage on this Ferrari. And it's like that's cool, but that's not who I am, right? Like this is what this is all about. This is what the community's for. And yeah, absolutely. You're going to get those things. Like as you show up, here's the cool part. Like so many people like, you must have a bunch of haters or something. I'm like, I don't know if I do, but mostly it's because I'm clean. Like I'm showing up in authenticity. I'm just being myself. And people can't hate that. Most people use that as like a subconscious or sometimes very real permission slip for them to do the same thing. And it's like, if you want to come play with me, then let's do that. And it's a very inclusive kind of feel that I think a lot of people don't have. Doesn't matter what success level you have. This game is not meant to be played solo, you know. And I say it all the time. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. It's an ancient African proverb that resonates with me. It's like people. It all comes back to people. Like if we really want this thing to work, we have to. I wouldn't say have to, but one of the things that will work is when we genuinely want to help and serve other people to get where they need to go, leveraging our talents, our time, our resources, our knowledge, our experiences, all of that stuff. Let's leverage that, help people. And there's no way that you're going to get that negative feedback. Like, how dare you for helping me? Like you will never get that. So you just show up for real. And like LTV said, you show up, those people will show up for you. So that's the game changer for most people right there.
See, that's it. And I love it. I love having you on today. Oh my goodness. I told you.
So cool.
Excited.
So how long? We've been going for like 9 hours or something.
I know, right? It feels like it.
It's good. This is good. Okay.
But guys, if you're catching this via the replay, by all means, if you're catching this, no matter what social media channel you're catching it on, make sure that you subscribe for future updates as well as future guests. And if you are a speaker or an author, I would love to have you on the platform. If you go to bit.ly/speakeasy podcast, all lowercase, you can definitely be a guest on the show. But I want to say thank you. And it's so funny that you said, of course, that you love having fun. That's one of the reasons why I was like, I had to have you on. I could not pass this opportunity up. Even if I like sent you a message and sounded like a creepy weirdo.
Yeah, that's the first thing I was like, okay, you are a creepy weird. And then I deleted it. I was like, oh, this looks really awesome. So let me check it out. But then I'm like, this creepy weirdo. No, I didn't. I was like, I'm all about it.
Like, this strange lady, I'm not too sure. Sure, I'll do it. Y'all just keep an eye out on this one, guys. But it's always a pleasure finding someone who is service oriented. It's always a pleasure finding someone who is about helping the entrepreneur, helping us move to the next level, helping us realize our greatest potential. So I appreciate you. I applaud you for that. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for sharing me with your audience, and vice versa. It's super fun to be here. So I was glad to be here.
So guys, again, don't forget, put replay in the comments because I have special gifts for you guys. And until next time, don't forget to press it out. See ya.